Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute, or maybe more than a minute, since our last upload. Life, as it often does, threw a few curveballs, but I really appreciate you sticking around and stopping by tonight. We've got some truly unsettling stories to dive into, so thanks for your patience. And if you have a story of your own you'd like featured on the channel, email it to me at originalgensen@gmail.com. Okay, so you know how sometimes you get curious about stuff? Like, really curious? About things you probably shouldn't be? That was me, maybe 3 to 4 years ago. I was deep in the rabbit hole of internet mysteries, true crime, urban legends, and all that jazz. I'd spent countless hours devouring documentaries about unsolved disappearances, reading form theories and cryptids, and getting lost in Wikipedia spirals about obscure historical events. And naturally, the dark web kept popping up. Not like, oh, it's a scary place, stay away. But more like, it's this hidden, almost mythical part of the internet. What even is there beyond the surface level stuff? The whispers of hidden knowledge and forbidden corners were too tempting to ignore. I'm not gonna lie, a big part of me thought it was probably just a bunch of nerds trading illegal stuff. Or something equally unexciting and, frankly, a bit gross. But the lure of the unknown, of peeling back another layer of the internet, was incredibly strong. It felt like a digital frontier, untouched by Google's algorithms. So after a few late nights watching YouTube documentaries that sensationalized it just enough, and poring over Reddit threads that offered practical, if slightly ominous advice, I decided to take the plunge. I downloaded Tor, did all the recommended stuff to set it up, a reliable VPN, a brand new burner email address created specifically for this, and even a mental checklist of what not to click. I felt like the character in a spy movie. Honestly, the whole process was kind of thrilling in its illicit simplicity. The first few times I ventured in, it was actually kind of boring. Seriously, like mind-numbingly dull. Mostly static forms that looked like they hadn't been updated since the dial-up era. Some truly bizarre and often poorly rendered digital art, and a lot of sites that screamed scam from a mile away. I found a few hidden wikis, typed directories which promised gateways to all sorts of illicit wonders, but they just led to more boring stuff, or links that were dead, and things that were clearly just phishing attempts. I was starting to feel a little bit disappointed, like I built it up too much in my head based on the sensationalized media. It was less of a den of shadowy secrets, and more of a dusty forgotten corner of the internet's attic. Then, after almost giving up, I stumbled upon one form. It wasn't about anything illegal or shocking, but rather dictated to unexplained phenomena, paranormal encounters, and fringe science. Something vague and intriguing like that. People were sharing genuinely weird stories, debating obscure conspiracy theories, and even posting some surprisingly well-written creepy short fiction. It was actually pretty engaging. Way more interesting and less overtly disturbing than the other stuff I'd found. I started lurking, just reading posts, sometimes for hours, completely absorbed. After a few days of just observing, I even made an account using my burner email. Of course, a totally generic, forgettable name. I posted a couple of times, mostly asking clarification questions, and adding a mundane, non-committal comment to a thread. Nothing personal, nothing revealing about my real life. Just generic internet chatter, like you'd find on any public forum. Looking back, that was probably the mistake. Engaging. Becoming a user instead of a viewer. Stepping out of the shadows even just a little. It started subtle. I remember getting an email maybe a week or two after I'd been active on that forum. It was from a random string of letters and numbers like ASD113 at protonmail.com with no subject line. My spam filter almost caught it, but something made me open it. The body of the email was just a single, unnerving, specific line. Nice post about the phantom lights. My blood ran cold. The phantom lights? That was a very specific thread on the dark web forum, one I commented on just a few days prior. And my comment wasn't exactly public knowledge. It was buried a few replies deep. It was a throwaway line, something like, yeah, I saw something similar once when I was camping in the Sierras. but it was probably just marsh gas or heat haze. Super specific, almost an antidote. And this email was sent directly to my burner address, and one I'd only used for the dark web setup, the one I painstakingly kept separate from my main digital life. The sheer specificity of the reference, combined with the fact that they had my burner email, sent a jolt of pure dread through me. I freaked out a little bit. Okay, a lot. I immediately deleted the email, changed my burner email's password to something absurdly complex, and stopped going on the dark web entirely. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a coincidence, or perhaps someone from the forum was just being creepy, and found my email through some obscure exploit in the data leak I didn't know about. I tried desperately to forget about it, to convince myself it was a one-off. But then things got weirder, and the rationalizations became harder to maintain. I started noticing little things, almost impeccably at first, but then they accumulated into an unattainable pattern. My regular email, the one I use for everything, for online shopping, communicating with my family, started getting spam that was too targeted. Not just generic ads for shoes, but stuff related to my really obscure hobbies I had. Things I'd only ever mentioned in private chats with close friends, or niche searches I'd done months ago on my personal laptop. It felt less like a random ad targeting and more like someone was maliciously sifting through my entire digital life, piecing together a profile on me. One morning I walked out to my car, and there was a single small, smooth river stone sitting perfectly, centered on my windshield. Just one. One dark gray, water-worn pebble. I live in the middle of a city, nowhere near next to a river, or any natural source of such a stone. It was just odd, unsettling out of place. I brushed it off, trying to dismiss it. But later that day, as if on cue, I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, and a picture I'd posted months ago, almost forgotten, popped up as a memory. A picture of a pristine river from a hiking trip I'd taken. I hadn't looked at that picture in ages, and the timing felt less like an algorithm, and more like deliberate, chilling nudge. The real fear, the kind that makes your stomach clench and your heart pound, set in when I started seeing them. Not a person, not at first, which made it even more insidious. Just a car. A dark blue sedan, maybe a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. Nothing distinctive, but it just kept appearing. First it was parked down the street from my apartment building when I left for work, just sitting there. Then it was in the far corner of the parking lot of the grocery store I frequented. Then it was just driving slowly past my gym as I walked in. Always just a fleeting glimpse. Always out of place enough to catch my eye, and prick the hairs in the back of my neck. I tried desperately to rationalize it. It's a common car. I'm just being paranoid. My mind's playing tricks on me. But the frequencies and the specific locations chipped away at my denial. But the paranoia was a living, breathing thing now, growing inside of me, feeding on every coincidence. I started putting my blinds shut the moment I got dark, even in the summer. I checked my locks not just once, but 3 times before bed. Pushing on the door, jiggling the knob. I stopped listening to music with headphones when I walked outside, needing to hear every rustle, every approaching footstep, every car engine. My world shrank, becoming a constant state of hypervigilance. Then came the note. It was tucked under my apartment door, a folded piece of plain white paper, the kind you get from a printer. No envelope, no stamp, just a stark folded rectangle. My hands were shaking so violently I almost dropped it as I unfolded it. It was printed, not handwritten, in a simple sans serif font. You really should have stuck to your marsh gas. That was it. Just the one chilling line. It was that phantom lights comment again. The exact phrasing from my dark web post. This wasn't some random scammer, or a weird glitch in the Matrix. This was someone who knew exactly who I was, what I'd done, and the specific, seemingly insignificant details of my online life. And they were here, in my physical space, leaving notes at my door. The anonymity of the internet had been shattered, and now a very real, very present threat was looming. I called the police, but what could I say? Someone sent me a creepy email and left a note that references a dark web forum I made a post on, and kept seeing this dark blue car. They'd probably think I was nuts, or even worse, involved in something shady myself. I didn't even mention the dark web post, just vague references to online harassment. They took a report, but there wasn't much they could do. No direct threats of violence, no physical harm, no clear evidence, just unsettling. Deeply profound unsettling. I ended up moving apartments a month later. It felt like an admission of defeat, like I was running away, but I just couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, or of my home no longer being a safe haven. I packed up everything, found a new place on the other side of town, and tried to erase my digital footprint. I changed my phone number, deleted all my social media accounts, and went completely dark online, as much as humanly possible. It was a huge hassle, a complete upheaval of my life, but the alternative was living in constant fear. It's been a couple of years since then. I'm still careful. I don't post much online, and if I do, it's under a pseudonym, and I never share anything even remotely personal. I still get a shiver down my spine if I see a dark blue sedan that looks too familiar, or if a random email pops up from an unknown sender. I've never gone back to the dark web, not even to look, not even out of curiosity. The allure is gone, replaced by a lingering dread. Sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet, I wonder if they ever found my new place, if they're still out there, somewhere just watching, a shadow in the digital ether. It's a weird feeling knowing the moment of casual curiosity, a fleeting desire to explore the unseen, led to someone knowing so much about me, and that I'd probably never know who it was or why they did it. It's a constant, chilling reminder that even in the most hidden, supposedly anonymous corners of the internet, you're never truly anonymous, and some shadows, once stirred, just don't go away.